Hi guys, I wanted to do a quick video about something that I've been meaning to talk about for a while, but it hasn't felt right. It really is just about being, well, I'm really tired, so bear with me. It's about why empaths don't like to spend a lot of time with other people, why we actually prefer to be alone or with a very, very, very few people that are very peaceful, very calm sort of people, and that make us feel safe and at ease. And there's very so few of those. It really comes down to this. We live in a world that is filled with people that are very, very, very toxic. They don't know this. They think their behavior is normal, right? They're really traumatized, they're really fucked up, and they're not aware of that at all. So they're just acting out. They're full of hate, they're full of rage, they're full of self-hate, they're full of envy, they're full of mind control, they're full of trauma, they're all fucked up and they're all skewed, and that's just the way it is. And then even amongst the awakening so-called people, you know, a lot of people still believe that the conspiracy lies outside of them, so they're not doing the work on themselves at all. So they're still full of crap, which basically just runs their show. And I'm sure you've noticed this in the conspiracy arena. If you check out these people, you look at their behavior and how they treat other people, how they treat nature, etc., you'll soon work out how toxic they really are. They're just horrible. I'm not saying the people are horrible, but their behavior is. So that really is what I'm trying to say here. I don't want to judge, because I understand that there is a reason for why people are the way they are, and that includes myself, because I'm not immune to that. I have many issues, and it's really, really tough going. Doing shadow work is just about the hardest thing that any of us can do, especially when our shadow work is about more than just our own shit. Right. I'll get to that in a bit, if I don't forget. So, when we spend, as empaths, when we spend time with other people, no matter how good our boundaries are, no matter how good our shielding is, we're going to absorb that other person's shit. And everybody has shit. I know of two people, and this is two people in my whole life that I feel completely at ease with. Completely at ease. I can be completely myself with them. I know that they think loving, good, positive thoughts about me. I know that because I can hear and feel people's thoughts, and I can feel people's emotions. So I know full well what these people think and feel about me, and it resonates back to me, and it makes me feel really good, and it makes me feel safe, and it makes me feel at ease. But with most people, I don't get that. Most people see each other one way or another. They really do. They see each other as a threat. Even when they're friends, even when they're family, it's incredible. They see each other as a threat. We have been made to see our fellow human beings as a threat. Yes, we have, as the enemy. You know this is true. When you look around you, when you think about your life, when you think about how people react to you when you strike up a conversation with a complete stranger at a bus stop or in a park. It doesn't always pan out that way. Some people are pretty cool, but most people really are not. So, you know, even with people that you've known for years, or people that you haven't known for very long, and you get together, their unprocessed shit it just gets into you somehow. It just does that, and it brings up your own shit. So then you're dealing with your own shit and their shit. You can feel their thoughts, you can feel their emotions. There might be envy, there might be jealousy, there might be derogatory feelings like, oh, I'm happy I'm not living there, or I'm happy when I had problems, health problems, and a friend of mine that I'd known for years came around to give a massage, and people say things like that just because they're not with it, and she's not awake and she's not aware and all. And I was telling her, she asked me, how are you? And I said, oh, this is happening with, my health. And she went, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to go through that. Now that really hurt my feelings, that it just really hurt, and it really just left a massive dent in that friendship. To be fair, it was very difficult. There's Schadenfreude, like, oh, somebody's doing badly, that makes me feel like my life isn't so bad, so that's a good thing. People judge each other based on age. People look at each other and think, oh, you look horrible, I'm so glad I don't look like you, I'm so glad I'm not fat, I'm so glad I'm not old, I'm so glad this isn't happening to my health. I'm so glad I don't live there, and I'm so glad my car doesn't look like that. All these types of things go through people's head, whether they like it or not, whether they're awake or not. This is what plays there, because it's the shadow, because it's all that trauma, you see. People are constantly thinking in that sort of really negative, derogatory sense. And you know what it does? It hurts other people. And I'm not saying this to make you feel guilty, because we've all got that shit going on, believe it or not. We all have. If you're in high awareness of it, then you will recognize that. You will learn not to feel guilty about it. You will learn not to get entangled in it, because you know that that isn't who you really are. And so you process it instead. You are with it. You sit with it. You accept that that is there because you were severely traumatized. The reason that we think this way and feel this way and behave this way towards each other, even people that are supposedly friends or family, people that we love, whatever, is because we have what I call, and this is a new coin I'm terming, trauma-based entanglement. We have been trauma-based entangled. Because we live in this world which is run by creatures of the most depraved, horrific evil. It cannot be put into words, but it is a fact. It truly is. So I call them the devouring beasts for a reason. And they have created an environment of constant trauma. If you look at Netflix and you see some of the things are on there, like say American Horror Story, and the images of in that series, my recommendation would be that you stay the fuck away from any of that type of stuff. This is all very Luciferian. I call them the Babylonians. They are the devourers of children. They consume something called, this is what it's called apparently, it's called adrenochrome or something like that. It's how they I don't think they consume this for reasons of staying young. I think they consume this because they're basically all MK Ultra mind control slaves, that when they drink this tincture, let's call it that, they can be possessed by entities from beyond the veil. And I think ultimately that's what this is about. When we talk about the so-called elites, they are literally meat bags. They're more or less empty. It's a bit like in, you remember Stargate? How they put this thing in the back of their necks and the entity lives in that body, in that person. It's like that, and that is why they drink this stuff, because the adrenochrome is what enables these entities to remain in these bodies, right? I mean, they have technology that would blow your mind. That's how they manage to stay looking quite young, even though they look hideous, a lot of them. But they are the rulers of this realm, more and more and more so. And yeah, I'm not going to really go into that anymore now, though, because that's really not what this little chat is about. This chat I'm doing here now is about empaths and why we prefer so often to just be alone. When we spend time with people that, especially people that haven't really done their inner work, or are at the very early stages of doing their inner work, but even people that have done a lot of inner work, even then it can be so difficult. Like I say, we get their energy, we get all their shit, all their stuff, all their unresolved crap, like an avalanche is literally chucked all over us. We hear their thoughts, we can feel what they're thinking, we can feel what they're feeling about us, about our lives. It can sometimes be pretty nasty, pretty mean, pretty selfish, pretty judgmental, pretty toxic, and you end up feeling utterly exhausted. You feel angry, abused, you feel antagonistic, you feel utterly wired, depressed, anxious, unsafe, used and abused, and you can't sleep because you just utterly it's like you've been through the ringer. And that's from just spending maybe, I don't know, a couple of hours or so with somebody, never mind having to spend, say, a week with them, or 2 weeks, or a month, or being married to somebody like that, or whatever, right? It's an absolute nightmare. And this is why empaths prefer to just be on their own. So imagine how I feel then when I do my little YouTube channel, and I get some very abusive comments that I try and handle as best I can. But I've now taken a policy of, okay, I'm not putting up with any more shit from anybody. Any kind of abusive comments of people that have clearly not processed their shit and just want to lash out because they don't get what's really going on. So some guy from India blaming us here in the West for the people in India's terrible circumstances is full of shit, because it's not our fault, it's the powers that be, right, who are abusing all of us, and we are in this together. But of course they want us fighting against each other, they want us hating each other, and they've been very successful at implementing exactly that. And this person plays right into their hands and leaves nasty abusive comments. You'll get blocked. It's as simple as that. People will get blocked because I'm not putting up with it. I'm not going to allow myself to get hurt in any way or shape or form. I don't have to do this YouTube channel. I do it for reasons of helping myself, but I know that my material, such as it is, also helps other people. It helps us to connect, it helps us to inspire and to nourish one another. And so I would like to be able to keep doing it. But any kind of abusive, word salady, narcissistic comment coming from people that are not willing to do the work, that are not willing to see the truth, that just want to lash out at their fellow human beings, even though they have not done you any wrong at all. Things like, oh, it's if you guys in the West would only recycle more and this, that and the other and take you everything for granted. Well, how dare you? I don't take anything for granted, thank you very much. I've not had an easy life where everything's just been handed to me on a silver platter. You're fucking nuts, mate. Wherever you are, and you might even be watching this now, even though I've blocked you, get a fucking grip. You're just feeling sorry for yourself because you've had a hard life and you think you're the only one that's had a hard life. Well, get a fucking grip on yourself, because believe me, here in the West, I know countless people who have had a miserable fucking existence. It isn't just about having enough food to eat every day. We need love. How about going through life without any love, without shitloads of abuse heaped upon you? Sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. But it's our fault that you're miserable over there in India. You're either a narcissist or you're just projecting. That's all you're doing. You're not taking any kind of responsibility for your own consciousness and your own healing. So that's why I blocked you, and you're going to stay blocked until such a time that you can prove that you've learned to be a semi-decent human being that treats other people with a little bit of empathy, a little bit of compassion and a little bit of understanding. And the only way that you can ever do that is if you can give those things to yourself. Because I don't think you like yourself very much at all. And this is the thing. I can always recognize a human being that hates themselves, even if they are not at all aware of it, because there's throngs and throngs and throngs of people out there that are filled with abject self-hate. And they sabotage themselves, they are codependent, they are toxic through and through, and they don't even know that. They can't see that at all. That's their normal. I cannot spend any kind of time with people like that. They make me physically sick. Not because I hate them or because they're bad. They're not. They're just very wounded people. But it literally is like an energetic assault. And this brings me to the point that empaths, we have to be incredibly careful who we spend our time with. Whom we spend our time with. Because a lot of people are just... they're actually bad for our well-being in every imaginable way. And it's like you're there with somebody, and this is always the case with these types of people as well. There's a lot of people on the various levels as well. People don't know how to listen. So you talk about something and you're already feeling really wired because you know they're not really interested and they're not listening. And they're not tuning in. There's no communion, you see. There is only this really heavy, wired feeling. I can't listen to you because I've got to speak. Self-absorbed, very self-absorbed. Me. I've got to speak to you and everything you have to say. No, I don't want to listen. So you end up feeling like, okay, so maybe I shouldn't talk at all and I should just sit here and just listen to this person. But inevitably everything they talk about is it's abuse. They don't mean to abuse you, but it is abuse. There's no doubt about it. And it makes us very ill. It makes us very, very ill. It gives us eczema. It gives us migraines. It makes us very depressed. It gives us all kinds of serious health problems. So we are now in a kind of quarantine lockdown situation here, and I know that some of you are going to probably be living with relatives, for example, that are like this, that are very toxic people and that make your life an absolute misery just by, whatever. And I really, really feel for you. I really feel for you. And perhaps you don't quite understand that you're an empath yet. Perhaps you don't quite realize what that means. And so maybe you think all these feelings that you're feeling are yours. And that all these crazy, horrible thoughts that you're getting are yours. And you're spiraling downwards because you're thinking that you're going mad. You think that you're a bad person. And I'm here to tell you that no, you're not mad, and no, you're not a bad person. You are an empath and you're a bit of a sponge, and right now you're in a situation when you're in lockdown with some very toxic people and it's like an assault. So the only thing that you can do is to find, if you can, a space. If you have your own room, go in there, get away from them, put some headphones on, listen to some nice music, that sort of thing. Use, if you have any kind of like essential oils that calm you down, use those. I find that good smells often help. If you can, have Epsom salt baths. We can get Epsom salt on the internet, so it might be a good idea to get some of that. But get away from them as much as you can. And I know that's very, very hard, and for some of you might be impossible. And if it is, then try and put up your shielding and you close your eyes and you focus on your heart center and imagine whatever color comes up. It's usually a color that you love very, very much. For me, it's electric blue, like it could be any color. Imagine that color, whatever color comes up that you feel. Yeah, the color will come in your head and you will see it clearly, and it will be in your heart center. And you shine it out from your heart and you imagine that it envelops you all the way around you, from top to bottom, all the way up, round your back, around your neck and your nervous system, everywhere, all around you. Okay? And you do that as often as you need to do it in a day. You shield yourself, alright? You do that. It's interesting because in this lockdown situation, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go mad and rampant within themselves because they will not be able to follow the same trajectory of behavior that they have followed before. And seeing as people are very sociopathic, are very narcissistic, are very self-absorbed, and want a sounding board or somebody that they can complain to 24/7, and that person isn't there, you know, they're gonna go, and so they'll be forced to confront their demons. They won't know what to do. There will be a lot of, you know, suicides and that sort of thing because people won't be able to handle it. I know this. I got this in a comment from someone. They said, "Oh, there'll be a lot of suicides," and I thought, yeah, I think I agree with that because I think that does happen. Now, I don't want anybody to be harmed at all, but this is the kind of situation that we're in. It's the reality of the situation that we're in. A lot of people find it very hard to cope in this type of situation, where they cannot go out and mingle and literally siphon off energy from other people. They won't be able to do that now, you see. There's so many different reasons and so many different psychological states that will be adversely but positively at the same time affected by this situation. So, yeah. So if you are in a situation where you are surrounded by people that are not good for your health and you're an empath, do as I told you to do, or perhaps you have your own things in place, your own, techniques in place that will help you to navigate that rocky terrain. It is very difficult, I know this. And always remember, people, that regardless of anything, love is the most powerful weapon in defeating any kind of darkness. It truly is. So love yourselves. Remember this every day. It's so interesting, isn't it? Because I think I was just like thinking about my own sort of life in the last week, and there's been quite a lot of Skyping, for example, which is I've had to call it a day now with that, because even when I'm Skyping with people, it's like I almost turn into a gibbering wretch. It's amazing, because even then do I get their energy, and it is like a poof, and next thing you know, I'm jabbering and I'm nervy, and I'm literally just a bit of a gibbering wretch. And people will think, whoa, you know, and I'm not like this when I'm with myself or with my best friends. I'm not like it then at all. I'm actually, yeah, I have a lot of issues that I'm still working through, but man, oh man, it's been really tough, because, you know, this staying in touch with people and talking about what's going on, Skyping with people because of that. And yeah, again, so even when you're at home and so you're thinking, right, I'm just going to Skype, be aware that when you're an empath, even when you're on the phone with somebody, even when you're Skyping with somebody, you're vulnerable. And you have to protect yourself. And if it doesn't feel right, and if it makes you feel nervous, conflicted, adversely influenced, or whatever, there's all kinds of shit that comes up, then, you know, tune out and say, look, sorry mate, gonna have to go, I've got things to do, whatever, you know. Just make your excuses and tune out, people. It's really for the best. Because even when we talk to people that we care a great deal about, if they have a great deal of unresolved shit, it's going to affect us. And it's that I call that the chameleon effect, where we literally take on that other person's energy, and we almost become like them for a short while and lose ourselves a little bit, you know. It's scary shit, and it takes us days to get over that. Absolutely days. And it also gives other people completely the wrong impression, and people think, oh, you're like this and you're like that, but in fact, no, you're not like that and you're not like that, but you're an empath. And they will not get that, they won't understand that, unless they're empaths themselves and they've done any kind of work and they realise how that works. But then you'd have a slightly more elevated relationship. You'd talk about that, and you'd respect each other's boundaries. It's like in the film, the Celestine Prophecy, and that's why I like that film and the book so very, very much, because it all starts off and he arrives at this sanctuary where, he doesn't realise, because he has the mass consciousness mindset still, and he continually gets in people's energy fields, and those people know exactly what it is to be an empath. These people know exactly that, hey, these are my boundaries, this is my energy field, this is my sacred space, this is my being, and you're continually sticking me with like poking me and interfering, and after a while he begins to understand, because he does his work, and he begins to realize, I get it now, you see. It's very much part of awakening to shield yourself, to set boundaries, and to become very aware of the utmost necessity of those. And yet still it's difficult, people. It's very hard. There are people we do want to spend time with, there are people we do care about, but we have to limit the amount of time spent with said people. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. I have a friend who lives just down the road from me, literally a 5-minute walk, and I care very much about her, and she's a good person, but I can't spend a long time with her at all. I can maybe spend half an hour, that's it, tops, because she's not awakening at all, believes everything the government says, and she's a very good person, but my God, I can't cope. I can't, because there's loads of shit going on, and she's very feedy and very needy, Anyway, I think that's it for today, people, and you look after yourselves, do the best you can with that, Remember, other people cannot give you what you need, only you can give yourself what you really need. And your internal world is your responsibility. My internal world is my responsibility, Blaming other people for our circumstances is a complete and utter waste of time. The only way that we can empower and achieve reset is from within, our own consciousness. And I think something is happening in the world, because despite everything, I've been doing a lot of research. It's gotten to me a bit as well, about the whole satanic elite, and it's pretty horrific, pretty grim. I knew all this stuff anyway, but there was a few angles that were new to me, and it's helpful, actually, because I know how to do my sacred work then. And it's always the same. It's never about vengeance or judgment or hate or rage, because that entangles you. That is what I call trauma-based entanglement. Actually, I forgot about that, didn't I? So we live in this world. It's like a case in point. So the local farm shop where I get a lot of my food have decided to close, and now you have to phone them and order the food that you want. They then call you back. You don't call them, what am I saying? You send them an email and you tell them what you want in terms of food, supplies, whatever. They then call you and take payments, and then you can go around there and you can collect it. Only that system doesn't work. I mean, it's fair to say they're a bunch of idiots anyway, frankly, at this particular farm shop. They have a massive staff turnover because the managements are just like, but it doesn't work. So I ordered certain things online, via email. Then nobody called me, never heard from them. So I called them. So I got someone on the phone who was very unpleasant and very rude, telling me that I was unpleasant and I was rude. And in fact, it was them. You see what I mean? This is what people do. It's projection. It's called projection, because I wasn't rude at all. So then, oh well, I'll send you another link. So send me another link. I went through it all again, and then this time they did get back to me. They did take payments, and then I sent somebody to collect the produce. Found out that it was short. Not everything was there, even though they charged me for it. Then I tried to call them up, and I couldn't get through because the phone has been busy ever since. So, what do I do in that situation? So I have two choices. I can entangle myself through the trauma, because that is trauma, because that is abuse, because that is all wrong and it shouldn't be that way. It causes severe stress and duress on the nervous system when you're already exhausted, when you're already going through a lot, obviously, so it is, right? So I do allow the anger, and I feel the anger, and I let it out. I have my exercises for that. I rant, I rage, I smack something. I'm like, yeah, you motherfuckers. And then get it out of my system. And then I have to let it go. I choose to let it go. And that is what I call disentanglement. And then I take my focus off it. I choose to take my focus off it, even though there's a part of me that's still on and on and on about it, that's still trying to, and says, no, you need to keep calling them, you need to get it sorted out, those bastards are trying to get one over on you, this, that and the other. It's still all there, but at the same time I can choose disentanglement and let it go. I can do that. It's pretty amazing. Just a minute. You alright, Julie?
How are you?
Well, I'm here in lockdown.
It's all mad, isn't it?
That's completely nuts. I was a bit worried about you because the last time I saw you, you seemed in very low spirits, and I was a bit worried that...
It was getting me down, but just making sense of it all.
Yeah, I can understand that. But you feeling a bit better now?
Eh?
You feeling a bit better now?
I'm fine, I'm okay. Just going with the flow if you have to.
Yeah.
Just gonna get something to eat.
You do that. You do.
Pap.
Well, I
I'm
know.
at work next week because I had this week off.
Oh, right.
Will I walk into? I don't know.
Well, you get something nice to eat and have a nice nibble at home with your sweetie pie.
Yeah.
Hey?
Well,
You look after yourself.
yeah, and you alright, my dear?
I will. Yeah, I'm okay. I've got my cats, I'll be alright. Bye. Yeah, that's my neighbour. She's a sweetie. This is the lady that I talked to you about. That, she's sweet, but I can't spend a long time with her because she, she's quite passive aggressive, but she really is an absolute dear at the same time. And this is, I think, very important to remember, people, is that people aren't bad or evil. Well, some are, obviously, yes. They're called the elite and they're in control of this world. And there are psychopaths and narcissists and all kinds in this world. We call them NPCs, It does really seem that they are not salt and that they are pure evil and that they are some sort of, it's an AI type of thing or some sort of, the jinn, call it what you will. We don't really know the truth of the whole story, and this video isn't about that. This video really is just about us empaths. Anyway, this entanglement is something that we can learn to do. It's very literally disentangle from all the things and nuances of this world. We let go of this world. We truly let it go. This is not going to happen overnight. This is going to take time. This is an in-depth process that your fake persona is going to hate. Hence, it's true shadow work. Disentanglement, letting go of this world, disentangling yourself from this trauma-based system that is this world, is a very deep level of shadow work. Very deep. And yet I feel with all my heart that is the biggest step, the best thing that we can do right now. So rather than chucking ourselves, hurling ourselves at the thing over and over again, trying to get different results, knowing full well that it's obstructionism and that it won't yield, call it a day. Call it a day. Just go within and love yourselves, people, and let go of the things of this world, Do that which has to be done, but do it with deliberation with foresight, so that you are in the right energetic resonance, and then watch how things unfold. And if it is testy and if it is trying, then let it go. So I will call them. I will call them maybe at, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And I bet you I'll get through then. And I will get it sorted and it will be fine. You know? But I don't have to go on and on and on about it. I don't have to sit here and stew in hate and vengeance and rage. I don't have to do that. Because I would be hurting myself. See? So disentanglement is a choice that you will stop hurting yourself. More than anything. You know? And I will talk about it more at some later date. It's quite a new thing for me as well, so, but it feels right, you know, because this is a world of the mind, and language is of the mind, and you know, all the trauma and all of that is also kind of the mind. It's the parasite, you know, the vertigo mind, and it's time to just take ourselves out of that and go into our intuition and into our feeling, because that is where it's at. That is where it's at. It's in our hearts, people, you know? It's in our hearts. It's where love lives. That's where our power is. Not to punish ourselves, no, to love ourselves all the way, and to disentangle from the things of this world. You know? Anyway, all my love to you.